So how do you tell if a guy likes you? In this video, let me give you 6 undeniable signs so that you will always be in the know. Hey, it's Renee here from thefemininewoman.com, where we teach you how to show up as a high-value, high-status woman who easily inspires a deep sense of emotional commitment from men. There's something important that I want you to remember. There's a difference between a guy who genuinely does like you and a guy who is just using you or pulling your strings. It's important to understand the difference. If you don't know the difference, you could get dragged into the wrong kind of situationship with a guy. Now, what does it mean if a guy is just pulling my strings? Well, it means that he's stringing you along or just keeping you around, but he doesn't really want a real relationship with you. In other words, it is of value to him to keep your attention on him for as long as possible without having to commit to you. A guy who really does like you will give specific, undeniable signs that he likes you. In fact, just before we get into it, it's important for you to know that a man being in love with you is worth far more than him liking you. Here's a video I made for you on the 5 unusual signs he's madly in love with you. I'll leave a link to that below. So what are the 6 undeniable signs that he likes you? Sign number 1, he has intense emotions when he sees you or is near you. Intense emotion is one of the signs that a guy is either feeling infatuation for you or that he's experiencing that special coveted emotion of romantic love. Intense emotion causes him to focus his attention on you specifically. In the beginning stages, he may have all kinds of interesting responses when he sees you around or when he's near you. Have you ever seen him stammer when talking to you? Does he shift his weight around nervously? Does he look flushed in the cheeks? Does he seem anxious, awkward, or painfully shy when he's talking to you, but he just so happens to speak and act normally around other people? These are all undeniable signs that he likes you. And that's because it shows that he has intense, uncontrollable bodily responses to your presence. What you want is a guy who indeed does have intense emotion about you. This is because without intense emotion, he will never want to get emotionally close to you. If he doesn't get emotionally close to you, then your chances of him ever committing to you in a relationship are pretty low. If you'd like to learn more about that, I've made a video on the difference between the women men commit to versus the women men leave. I'll leave a link to that also below. Sign number 2, he remembers trivial things you said and did. Now, these are not the things that you ask him to remember about you. These are the things that he remembers about you involuntarily. I say involuntarily because a guy who really likes you will not be able to control his actions as much as you think he would. Your simple presence and existence causes his whole emotional state to change and sometimes even causes him to change his behavior unknowingly. The fact that he focuses his attention on you, sometimes to the detriment of others in his life, often means that he's either falling in love with you or beginning to feel infatuated with you and very much likes you. So, what kinds of trivial things would he remember that you said or did? Just any normal everyday event or behavior, such as the way you brushed your hair, the way you make your morning coffee, or the way you handed him the tomatoes while cooking. Sign number 3, he keeps objects, smells, or signs of you close to him. What this means is that he tries to hold on to things that remind him of you, like say a pencil, or a scarf with your perfume on it, a handkerchief, old school I know, or a piece of your hair that fell out. Let's say you happen to fold a paper origami, a paper crane, for example. That seems pretty insignificant, right? It's just a paper crane. Yet he wants to keep it because to him, it's a symbol of you. Sign number 4, he proudly calls you his girlfriend in front of his acquaintances, friends, and family. Okay, so not all guys will go out of their way to introduce you as their girlfriend, perhaps because they're not aware that it's actually important to you. Some guys are more introverted and just don't speak or say a whole lot. Perhaps they prefer to keep their relationship more private, but it doesn't always mean that they don't like you. But my question to you is, what do guys do when they don't really like you, but are just keeping you around for convenience? Have a think about it. Well, they basically act like they aren't proud to introduce you to the people in their life. They may also ignore you or pull away when a more attractive or interesting woman comes along. They may take you out to an event, but they may leave you alone and even seem to pretend that they are not really seeing you or together with you. They might seem almost embarrassed about saying that you guys are an item. And at the same time, he might avoid having to introduce you as his girlfriend. In other words, if a guy doesn't really like you, then being around him will only add to your feelings of inadequacy. A guy who likes you wouldn't trigger your feelings of inadequacy carelessly like that. Now, don't get me wrong, in every good relationship, you are bound to be triggered to feel inadequate at some point. That's normal. However, it's not normal to have a guy repeatedly, carelessly trigger your feelings of inadequacy. if he likes you. Instead, one of the undeniable signs that he likes you is that he is super proud to not only show you off to everyone he knows, but he actively makes an effort to introduce you to them as his girlfriend. Before we move on to the next sign, I want you to know and remember something very important. Please always remember this. This will make or break your love life. Just because a guy likes you doesn't mean he is serious about you. It's important to know the difference. Now, I've also made a video on that. It's titled, Is he serious about you or just interested? Critical distinction. I'll link to that video below. Sign number 5, he takes extreme care in buying gifts for you. This means that he will try his best to tailor the gifts that he buys to you, to who you are as a soul. I still remember when I used to sell perfume in big department stores here in Australia. Of all the customers I served during every long shift, male and female customers, there was one man who came in once and he was looking for a special perfume for his wife. He wasn't like all the other guys buying perfume as a Christmas gift for their wife. He was different. He was meticulous, and he appeared to be like that in order to purchase the right perfume for his wife. The kind of perfume that would speak to her soul and enhance her delicacy. So what I did was I sprayed a few cards with different perfumes on them for him to smell and to test. See, he wasn't a super tall, typically good-looking man. He was a man of modest height. He was slim, still handsome, and obviously a businessman. He was wearing a very nice suit. And as he surveyed the different perfumes, he was really taking his time to have a think. Then he said to me in this really tender voice that I'll never forget, I can't just get my wife anything. She's really small and she's delicate. I need just the right perfume for her that would actually make her happy and the kind of perfume that would enhance how delicate she is. I couldn't believe it. He used his free hand to indicate her unique frame, which he obviously cherished. I was so touched by the purity of his gesture. He was doing what he did out of care for her, and that was clear. Sign number 6, his eyes gaze deeply into your eyes. This means that his eyes gaze deeply into your eyes to feel your response. A man who likes you will have eyes that search your eyes. What could he be looking for, you may ask? Well, he's looking for signs on how you really feel about what he said or did. He wants to know your soul. He wants you. In other words, his presence is all yours. No part of him is absent in that particular moment whilst he's feeling you. He wants to see how to navigate the waters of you better. He wants to learn the quality of your emotions as well as your emotional responses to his words or behavior. I'm sure you've heard that saying that the eyes are the window to the soul. Well, a man who really likes you will utilize these windows actively and consistently. But a guy who likes you may also have trouble holding your gaze due to nervousness. However, as he gains his bearings around you, he will want to look into your eyes. You'll actually see his eyes locking yours because he will definitely want to learn about you. My final piece of advice to you is that you won't truly know if a guy likes you unless you stay attuned. I think it's great to be aware of the signs that he likes you, but here's a truth bomb. You won't truly know for yourself if he likes you unless you stay attuned to the guy. Now, what is attunement? It's the quality of being at one with. It's to bring into accord, harmony, or sympathetic relationship. That's the official definition. When it comes to attuning yourself to a guy, what that means is that you get out of your own head. Instead, you feel the reality of where he is at. If you attune yourself to a guy, that will allow you to see for real for yourself if he actually likes you or if he's just stringing you along. Here's what I mean. You may care a lot about him, right? But does he care just as much about you? How much does he actually care? Does he actually just care for the attention that you give him? Or does he care about your happiness, your feelings, your challenges, and your life as a whole? One of the undeniable signs that he likes you is that he truly cares about you. Of course, in order to properly attune yourself to him, you have to first attune to yourself. What that means is that you become more aware of how your body feels and what the deeper emotions you feel actually are. See, when it comes to dating guys, there's no use pretending that everything is okay if inside you actually feel hurt by him. There's no use getting attached to the story you've told yourself about him and what he could be in your head. That can lead you astray and get you attached to the idea of the relationship you have with him rather than what's actually true about your relationship or lack of relationship. Once you get in touch with your own emotions and understand them, then you should attune to him. Have a think about where he's really at. The easiest way to start doing that is by learning to put yourself in his shoes. That means you'll need to have understanding and empathy for where he is at in his life. The best way for a woman to get good at that is to start by learning about the masculine perspective. I also actually have a video on that. It's titled 5 Important Insights on Men That Will Ease Your Worries. The link will be below. Now, if you want to suss him out for certain, then I do actually have one test you can use in this situation to see if he actually likes you or not. You can throw him what we would call an attraction pebble. An attraction pebble is a little phrase or a gesture that you throw to a man that will instantly capture his attention in a high value way without looking desperate, needy, or low value. In other words, you kind of throw him off his center and watch for his response. His response will tell you everything you need to know. Now, attraction pebbles are a whole topic in and of themselves. So instead of teaching you more about this attraction pebble and dragging this video on right now, I'll just leave a link below in the description box where you can get access to this one test and you can learn more about it in your own time. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel and click the notification bell if you'd like to receive alerts when I upload new content and videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.